All right, so let's get right into it. Today, we're not here to solve a crime, we're going to deconstruct one. We are breaking down the incredibly meticulous, morally complicated, and just about perfect plan that was pulled off by a high school detective at the absolute end of her rope in the novel As Good as Dead. The truth doesn't matter. Now, this is a quote from our main character, Pip Fitzamobi. And if you followed her story at all, you know how wild that sounds. I mean, this is a girl who built her entire identity around finding the truth no matter what. So what on earth could make her say something like this? And that's the big question we're tackling, right? How does a hero, someone obsessed with justice and facts, just cross that line and become a killer and a master manipulator herself? Well, the answer doesn't start with the crime. It starts with a mind in total crisis. So first, let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with Pip in a really, really dark place. The trauma from her last couple of cases, it hasn't just left scars, it's basically rewired her entire brain. So Pip is dealing with some severe PTSD. She's haunted by these images of death, her hands constantly feel wet with blood that isn't there, and she's seeing danger in the most random, everyday things. It's gotten so bad she's illegally buying drugs just to get some sleep. And she's desperately holding on to this one idea, that if she can just find one last clean case, one with a clear good guy and a bad guy, it'll somehow fix her. And that vulnerability, that's the key to everything. And right into this incredibly fragile state comes a brand new threat. It starts with this creepy message online, but it quickly escalates into something terrifyingly real. This timeline here, this is from Pip's own notes. And you can see how it goes from online trolling to dead animals and these awful chalk figures on her driveway. Each one gets a little more personal, a little more terrifying. But that's just the start. As Pip starts digging into who's stalking her, she uncovers something so much bigger, a connection that she never ever saw coming. She starts to realize these aren't just random scary pranks, they're echoes of a famous local serial killer. Turns out her stalker is mimicking the duct tape killer, a murderer who terrorized the area years ago. But here's the things that doesn't add up. A guy named Billy Carras already confessed to those crimes. He's been in prison for years. So what's going on here? Is this a copycat, or did they lock up the wrong guy? Pip, being Pip, connects the dots. And she realizes the real DT killer is Jason Bell, the father from her very first case. But just as she figures it all out, he gets to her first. He captures her. She's bound, gagged, and left for dead, her final victim. But she manages to escape. And what she does next? Well, that changes absolutely everything. Okay, this is it. This is the turning point. She's free, but she's terrified, and her faith in the system is completely shattered. Pip has a choice to make. Call the police, or take matters into her own hands. And her mind immediately goes to the system that's already failed her. She remembers Detective Inspector Hawkins just brushing off her fears about the stalker, saying it was all just paranoia from her trauma. They didn't believe her then, they won't believe her now. And in that instant, you can see her personal distrust just explode into this universal truth for her. It's not just that they won't believe me, it's that they never believe us. The whole system is broken. It doesn't protect the victims. Which leads her to this final, chilling conclusion. She remembers something a vigilante she'd met once told her, and his words suddenly become her own. If the law can't deliver justice, well, then she will. So, and this is the most important part, you have to understand this. Pip walks back into that workshop, and she kills Jason Bell with a hammer. This isn't self-defense, it's not a crime of passion, it is a cold, planned-out execution. And just like that, the detective becomes the killer. So, killing the killer is one thing, but getting away with it? That's a whole different ballgame. And this is where Pip's brilliant, analytical mind switches from solving crimes to creating the perfect one. With her boyfriend Ravi's help, she cooks up this 4-part masterpiece of a plan. Every skill she ever had for taking crimes apart, she now uses to build one from the ground up. And the plan isn't just about getting herself off the hook. It's about framing someone else who she believes deserves to be punished too. Their target is Max Hastings, a rapist who got away with it in a previous case. And to frame him, they plant a literal mountain of evidence. His DNA on the body, his clothes used to make bloody footprints, even his phone to ping the local cell tower. They drug him to steal all this stuff and wipe his memory, making him the perfect, helpless fall guy. But the truly brilliant part, the absolute masterstroke of this whole thing, is how they manipulate the time of death. See, Jason Bell actually died at 6 p.m., and Pip has no alibi for that time. So they turn his car into a makeshift morgue. First, they blast the AC for hours to cool the body down and slow rigor mortis. Then, they crank the heat to give it a false temperature. It's all designed to fool the medical examiner into thinking the murder happened hours later, sometime between 9:30 p.m. and midnight. And during that new, completely fake time of death window, Pip is busy building an ironclad alibi. She conveniently loses her phone so she can't be tracked. She makes a timed call to a lawyer. She makes sure she's seen in public at a McDonald's with friends. She uses her debit card to create a paper trail. She is miles and miles away, just another grieving, innocent girl, while her perfect crime is supposedly taking place. So, the plan is done, the evidence is planted, the alibi is solid. But, can a crime ever really be perfect? The answer is no, of course not. There was one mistake, one tiny oversight. Jason Bell had stolen Pip's headphones as a trophy, and in all the chaos, she forgot about them. The police found them in his house, a direct link between the victim and our supposedly innocent hero. And you know what? In the end, it didn't even matter. The pile of evidence they manufactured against Max Hastings was so huge, so overwhelming, that a pair of headphones seemed like nothing. Her alibi was too strong. The police arrested Max. The plan, even with its one flaw, it worked. And yet, she doesn't get away totally clean. D.I. Hawkins, the same detective who dismissed her fears, says this to her at the very end. It's this final, chilling line. He knows. He can't prove a thing, but he knows what she's capable of. He's suspicious, and that suspicion is going to hang over her forever. Which leaves us with this massive question. A serial killer is off the streets. A rapist is finally behind bars. But it all happened because of a murder, a frame-up, and an elaborate lie. It's such a fascinating and honestly a really troubling ending that forces you to ask, is justice still justice when it's built on a perfect lie?